The wheel strategy is a method that uses the sale of cash-secured put options and covered call options as part of a long-term trading methodology. It starts with a cash position and a well-chosen basket of stocks or ETFs. Typically, you'd want to choose either widely traded index ETFs with good diversification or solid companies that can withstand a downturn and that have options that mature relatively often, at least monthly. The wheel starts by selling cash-secured put options on a set of stocks or ETFs, as illustrated by the top driver wheel in the figure. The put options are cash-secured because enough cash has been put aside to purchase 100 shares of the stock or ETF for every option contract sold. When the put options are sold, you immediately receive money, called a premium, which is yours to keep. At this point, one of three things will happen. The first possibility is that the put option expires and just goes away. In this case, the cash in your account is increased because of the premium you've collected. You'll sell another option to continue the process. The second possibility is that the put option declines enough in value that it's worthwhile to buy the option back and use the money that was securing it to secure another option. This is referred to as buying to cover. On wheelstrategytools.com, this will happen when another option or set of options has been specifically identified to take the place of the option being repurchased. Since identifying specific opportunities is difficult to implement for most users of the wheel strategy, a common approach is to use a rule of thumb to cover options when they have declined a certain percentage amount from the original value, such as 50% or 80%. The put driver wheel may continue to turn in this way, selling puts that expire or are repurchased. Sooner or later, however, a put will be assigned and you will buy 100 shares of stock for each option sold. This is a half turn of the big wheel. Next, you'll sell covered calls on the stock or ETF that you now own. It's covered because if the call is assigned, you already own the stock that will be sold. When you sell the call, you also receive a premium, which is yours to keep. You'll continue to sell or buy to cover and then sell call options, just as you did with the put options on the first driver wheel. Sooner or later, unless the stock or ETF that you own declines in price too much, the option will be assigned. The stock or ETF will be sold, and you'll be back to a cash position, completing a full rotation of the wheel. Because the wheel strategy involves owning stock, there are risks with the wheel that you should consider. If you've chosen the stocks or ETFs in your basket carefully, most stock or ETF declines will be recovered eventually. However, there is always a risk that a stock or ETF will decline in value for some company or sector-specific reason, and you'll need to decide whether or not you should take a loss and move on or not. Probably the biggest risk, however, is that the investor panics and sells at a poor time in response to some market event. The wheel strategy is a systematic, long-term strategy that requires some personal discipline to apply. Each individual will need to make an honest assessment of their own temperament and capabilities to decide if such an approach is for them. For more information on the wheel strategy, check out the articles section at wheelstrategytools.com.